I don't know, nice. Partly
Okay.
cloudy, Grant, and let me tell you, these last two series are the last two I have to cast before vacation. So
Yeah.
while I've got one brain cell on the games, my other brain cell is thinking about Colorado. Let's hop straight into Nina versus Disc on Romanticide LE.
Our first player in the bottom right of Romanticide, representing Root, a legend of the scene and a legendary team. It is the Red Protoss player from Canada. It's Disc.
And he's going to have his hands full with this next opponent in the top left-hand side in the blue, formerly of Exxon Gaming, now, of course, part of Psystorm's esports conglomerate. Her name is Nina, and she is a force to be reckoned with, Grant. I tune into Nina's streams probably more often than almost anybody else. Just very calm, very chill, and great analysis. So I'm going to do my best not to root for anybody. But Disc is going to have his hands full, certainly. Neens is one of the best players in NA right now, and she is absolutely terrifying. Right now, 1-1 in the group. Both of these players, 1-1 in the group. But I think Neens probably the favorite here.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. Disc is pretty good in the old PvP matchup. And PvP is a volatile matchup, as we saw in our first series of the day. But I've seen Nina be very, very decisive. That's the thing I would say about her, is she has the instinct to just bloody go. When she needs to go, and if she's able to do that and execute her build well, she's been playing this game for a long bloody time. She's traveled the world because of it, performed very, very well, specifically in North American events, always considered one of the top players. She is now working, I believe, full-time alongside playing, so maybe not getting as much practice in, but I believe Disc is still in school or working. I can't remember which.
Yeah, definitely two part-time players here, but both with high skill ceilings, Grant. I totally agree with you. And you talk about Nina as a player who absolutely knows when to just go, as you said. That's a tough skill, I think, for players to develop. Any of us who play regularly can attest that, like, it's really difficult to know exactly when to pull the trigger on a move out, and it's something that you learn very slowly over time. And Nina does definitely have the killer instinct of sort of reading her opponent, reading the patterns, and knowing exactly how much damage she's done, even getting that pylon block in to see what pops out of the gateways here for Disc. So far, Nina doing very, very well this game. Of course, Disc has the counter pylon as well, but really, Grant, we won't know a whole lot until we see the tier 2 tech coming out for either player. Nina hid both for stalkers, by the way. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. You always want to keep the fear that you've gone for 2 adepts, basically. So your opponent keeps a probe in the block position. That probe then is not mining and is generally difficult to deal with. So Twilight Counter coming down for Disc. That's very, very quick, actually. Very quick, in fact. I wouldn't be surprised if there's possibility of a Dark Shrine following this. I'm not sure. He might go for very fast blink as well. Nina on the other side, not throwing down any tech yet, getting that quick nexus. Disc is throwing down a proxy pylon too. This is either very quick blink or this is going to be a Dark Shrine, I believe.
It's looking like Dark Shrine, I think, Grant. There's no, unless he does a forward gateway with a blink here, but it looks like he's waiting. And Pylon's going to finish up just as Twilight Council does. And yeah, Dark Shrine going to be down here. Beautifully done by Disc. And now Nina should be on notice. Something's going on here, and she's got to Sherlock Holmes this one out to figure out what she's up against.
What? Okay, 4 Stalkers would be able to push this back, but not having a block there, always a little scary. This Dark Shrine and Proxy Gateway coming in a scary location. Twilight Council coming down here from Nina. She'll need to follow this up with a pretty quick robo. I wouldn't be surprised to see these adepts maybe complete. At this point, they're being annoying. Ooh, a Council Force here as well, as this first few units coming across and being very, very aggressive. The threat of the adepts mean Nina's having to sit in her main. And this all comes from just not having that first probe to block, and now they're probably going to... Okay, 2... you could have completed that one, mate. Only 2 Stalkers, you can go for the complete there, I think. But there's no Robo.
Yeah, no Robo and no Stargate either, Grant. No Forge for those cannons either. Neens in a bit of trouble here. If this Dark Shrine finishes, Grant, and Neens does not have any method by detecting these games, that's just going to be a GG. There we go. The Forge comes down right away, but it's going to be a long time before the Forge, the Photon Cannons are finished. These Dark Templar are coming, and they are coming real fast.
Yeah, this Dark Shrine is now 95% complete. We'll be completing in just a moment, and DTs will immediately be walked in. We're looking at 3 of them, most likely straight away. Boom, boom, 2. Just kidding. Haha, there he is. Freeze the crowd. And they will now be making their way into the natural and main. Forge has finished, but has a cannon finished. Will a cannon instantly go down? Robo coming down as well, so the steps are there if Nina can hold on, but she doesn't have any cannon. She's probably going to start... Okay, starts one now. But these... they've been seen. Yep. Very nice.
Gonna pull away first cannon. He's gonna get picked that down
DT
there, and wow, that DT barely stuck in the force field, inside the force field, buying as much time as possible, and that's gonna be great. Neens has a chance to get these cannons up in the main. A second force field goes down. The main's gonna be safe, but the natural is gonna go down. This is really, really rough for Neens.
Yeah, I think if she sends a third DT, she gets 100% the kill here. She's gonna get it no matter what, actually. Yeah, so this is fine, keeping the pressure up. Okay, one DT does manage to get in. Actually, I'd go for sentries, I think, here, because there is a cannon now. Nina is going to go for as many workers as she can. That happens to be just one, but she's going to get the natural. And behind this, her natural is... he's going to get the natural, and behind this, Disc's natural is done. He's up to 42 workers. Even this pylon will fall as the observer is not yet here. This is so much damage. Look at the supply block Nina has. She just lost her Nexus +2, I believe, pylons worth of damage. And now the DT's in the room.
Actually 3 pylons worth of damage there, including one that was outside of her third base. Neens getting really, really raked over the coals right now. Disc finds a lot of damage here. Disc, by the way, has Blink finished up already, has those gateways finishing up in his main. Disc is going to be a lot ahead of Nina right now, and I just don't see a way Nina can come back here unless Disc sits back at home and does nothing, twiddles his thumbs for about an hour and a half. Yeah,
it's... Nina has to play this in one of two ways. She is going to go for a very quick robotics bay and try and get disruptors and use that comeback mechanic I've spoke so much about as her way back into this game. I don't hate it by any means, but 35 worker disruptors isn't ideal. There's a lot of stalkers on the field right now. In terms of upgrades, Nina is going to be ahead because we do not have a forge down just yet here for Disc. I imagine we're going to see that very, very, very soon though, Creighton. And it's a mountain to climb.
It's a huge mountain, Grant. And with this, we've already got the stalkers out on the map. The stalker count very high for Disc, up to 14 right now. Only 3 sentries as well, no stalkers. If they target fire very well, can pick off those sentries very, very quickly. There is no shield battery at the second base, Grant, and the DT goes down. Of course, that means Nina's army slightly out of position. That should allow Disc to go up the ramp here with the War Prism. The defender's advantage. Nina has been denied completely, and this is looking absolutely fabulous here for Disc.
Yeah, now Nina has finished her blink, but I think we're going to see Disc maybe just go up into the main here. He's certainly considering it if the observer... Okay, blink forward here from Disc. He does lose a couple of stalkers to the force fields, but he's also traded pretty well against Nina's. Yeah, Nina is down 10 army supply, trying to warp in desperately, but we should have more warp-ins as well. Yeah, 4 warp-ins at a time here coming in from Disc, and he is going to apply more and more pressure, because behind this, he has a third base down.
Yeah, saving up all that scratch early. And of course, Nina's +1's going to help out quite a bit, but the War Prism goes up to the main, and oh my god, if it gets a sentry into the main, if there's a force field, oh dear, luckily Nina has Blink, but the War Prism survives. I thought the War Prism was going to go down. The fact that it's still up is good, and a beautiful last-second Blink from Disc there. Disc needs to focus fire down that Disruptor, get on top of some of these sentries, and really force Nina to play an awkward engagement here.
Yeah, I think Disc is just doing too well here. He's going to unpower a bunch of the gateways. He's going to lose a few units here, sure, but now he gets down to the natural, unpowers a super battery, meaning he now has another angle of attack, and that prism that survived for so long just is going to be so valuable. Blink forward there, catching more units. GG, Disc takes map 1.
Wow, the game ones have been going very badly for our favorite players, Grant, as both Future lost his favorite game 1, and now Nina dropping game 1 to Disc just goes to show you how tight some of these matches really can be. Very excited to see what happens in game number 2 at Grant. Any initial thoughts on that game 1? Why did Nina lose? Was it just the DTs?
Yeah. PvP it's always been considered a bit of a rock, paper, scissors matchup, because if you go for one line of tech, you may be completely screwed against the other. And in that game, she took a big risk for going straight into Twilight Council and getting Blink and adding all the rest of her tech very early on. And the natural went down. And once the natural goes down in that position, it's just so difficult. I think Disc did very well behind it. He didn't just go, okay, 5 more gateways, go, because there's a possibility that doesn't work out. He did get his third base behind this. Even if that push didn't work, he was in a great spot, and unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbled. Both players currently queued up as Terran. Please no more TVT.
I think we've reached the end of our rope with TVT for sure, Grant. But Disc and Nina going on to Jagannatha, our second map of the day, second map of the series, rather. And I think Jagannatha is a good chance for Nina to sort of flex her skills. She's known as a very strong mid-game player with a lot of nice Colossus timings and very good army control. So I really hope that Nina gets a chance to show how good she was. Having a bit of a build order loss in game 1 is a little rough to come back from. But we'll see if game 2 gives her any more luck as we get into our second game between Nina and Disc. Grant, this Group A is going to be so ugly, man. It's going to be so ugly. We have 4 players at 1-1 after day 1. And Nina and Disc, one of them, well, they're going to be at 2-1 or 1-2. But right now, Disc and Nina are the only players remaining at 1-1. So, yeah, we're guaranteed to have 2 players at 2-1. Let me go back. There are 8 players in Group A. At the end of today's matches, we're guaranteed 2 players at 3-0, 2 players at 2-1, 2 players at 1-2, and 2 players behind that at 0-3. It does not get any more evenly distributed than that. Wow. What a group, man. What a group.
Yeah, super close. And this series is going to be very, very, very deciding in who gets through to the bracket stage. So, our first player leading the series 1-0. He represents Root. It is the Canadian, the Red Protoss player, Disc.
And Disc's opponent in the bottom left-hand side, representing the US of A, formerly of Team Exxon. Of course, the big news today that Team Exxon joining forces with Storm Gaming. So, I can safely say the newest addition to Storm Gaming. It's Nina.
It is.
Falling DTs in game 1, Grant, always tough. Now, Grant, say you're playing some Protoss. Talk me through your thought process. You lose to DTs in game 1. How do you cope for game number 2?
You can't sit there and go, oh, this game I just go Robo, because then maybe, Disc proxies a Stargate and you're in trouble. It's very difficult to prepare. You just have to play your game. You have to play the build that you had prepared for this map. Every player sort of has a build they like on every map, and I imagine Nina has something she has planned for Juggernaut. Both players for now going for the scout. Disc is just going to slow down that gateway from going down, force it to maybe go down in the wrong place. This is just annoying, yeah. It means a complete wall doesn't come down quite as early. It is actually still a complete wall, but it's slightly wider, does allow units to get up a little more to do some. Oh, that's a weird wall. Okay, yeah, no, I see where we're going now.
We'll be fine. The cyber core is there to finish it off, but yeah, a bit awkward there for Nina, certainly. Luckily, no Zealot forced out early or anything, so both these players can sort of proceed with their builds very normally. Now, Grant, last game we noted that Nina didn't really get a lot of scouting done. Just got in her face a little bit early. Nina's a player who does like to scout, relies a lot on the information from their opponent, but we haven't seen her send any probes across the map yet. In fact, completely dark on the other side. I'd love to see Nina sending a probe across the map and at least causing some havoc, causing some pressure. Remember last game, she got that pylon down in pretty good time, but this game, sticking to her base and just trying to drive Disc away.
Yeah, sometimes you want to be that bit greedier, you want to be that little bit ahead, knowing your opponent has scouted and you haven't. You think of the 5 minerals every X amount of seconds that your opponent is missing out on that you are getting. You start to feel kind of good, it's a small thing, and especially if you're confident in your build being very safe, and if you're confident your opponent isn't doing anything wild, you don't feel too bad about this. I imagine Nina will probably get sentries pretty soon as well to get that scouting information early. For now, she is adding on, wow, more and more stalkers. Very, very aggressive with the amount of stalkers that Nina is producing here. If the 5th and 6th units are not sentries or sentry base, I would be very surprised here. Does look like quite possibly Nina is going to go for a scout now, but I'm not saying this is going to be a committed scout. This could just be for a proxy pylon.
It definitely could, Grant. She's put this pylon down very early on the low ground to sort of trick Disc into thinking that she was going to go for that low ground nexus very early, but you can see she is not building a low ground nexus, and there it is, Grant. Stalkers number 5 and 6 coming out from Nina. Disc has expanded the natural, but Nina looks like she is gearing up to go for the juggler. She's got a probe moving into position to either drop a pylon here or maybe even more aggressively at the 3rd location, and it looks like Nina could be setting up for really dangerous early game pressure.
Yeah, and I don't think Disc has seen this. He's going in for a scout now, and he will see there's no army here, but he has to be thinking now, what am I playing against? What is this? I have no idea. We do see Nina has got a nexus. She's not, all in here, but it's a lot of units. That battery is going to be so big in the grand scale of things. Robo coming in as well here, at home here for Nina, so she'll be able to get observers and possibly a prism, nice and early. It is still only 2 gates, so it is just an aggressive stalker opening to try and force more and more units out to slow down and give map pressure here to Nina. I don't hate it by any means. She's really producing a lot of stalkers though. Yeah,
the more I think about it, the more I kind of like this. She lost the last game largely because she failed to scout, and she got basically pushed into a bad strategy by an opponent who just chose very wisely against her. This game, she's saying, I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm going to get in your face. Ooh, bad force field there from Disc. Nina is able to escape completely from it. Nina saves, I think, all of her stalkers.
Yes,
there. Yeah,
correct.
But anyway, I think Nina just trying to make up for this last game by putting a soft contain on Disc and saying, yeah, your natural's ahead earlier, but you're going to have to defend the crap out of it.
Yeah, forcing super batteries and things out, that's all energy that's not going into Chrono, so you feel pretty good about that here. As long as Nina doesn't lose too many Stalkers here behind this, of course she is macroing. This isn't by any means an all-in build. She has a Robo, she's getting an Observer, she's going to get the Twilight Council as well. It's all slower. The Robo, of course, quicker, but Blink will be much slower. Starting to lose some Stalkers here. Fighting into double batteries isn't ideal. Very strange wall up here. I don't think Nina lets that complete. Nope, she's never going to get into the main, but adding the threat of going behind the mineral line here. Forge coming down for Nina, which I'd like to see. She's just going to macro out of this and go for a mid-game based composition, I imagine. Once we see the third go down, we'll see a Robotics Bay not too long after.
Nicely done here by Disc, of course, to force those Adept Shades not to be able to get into the main here. Nicely done, just keeping that wall nice and tidy. But yeah, as you said, Nina with a lot of Stalkers to open things up, finally slowing down a bit. Forge going to finish slightly earlier for Nina here, so she will be able to start that +1 right away, and I imagine maybe dump a Chrono into it if you can.
Yeah, Chrono energy at this point is pretty few and far between. She's starting to save them up now, get back towards 50, 71 on 1. I think she's got enough for 2, actually. Yep, she does. So Chrono's going into the Robo for now, and I wouldn't be surprised if it also goes into the Twilight Council to get Blink finished alongside a couple of Immortals. We still have that Proxy Pylon in location. I do think Disc is looking for it. He wants to make sure his third is secure, but also see if there is, or where the Proxy Pylon is. He knew she was reinforcing from this angle, and I imagine he will find it very shortly, especially now seeing this Adept Shade. Yeah, Disc now will walk up and see this guy and be like, hello, and take that out. Adept will go down, doesn't get to see much, does see that the probe was heading to take the third though, gives some indication. I imagine Disc is going to be stuck to that, and there is that Robotics Bay as anticipated before the third. Third will follow up the Robotics Bay, but Nina is going to be moving in, I imagine, to Disruptors or Colossus. Well, it can only really be those two. I'm trying to figure out which one is most likely in this composition. Probably Disruptors.
It probably Disruptors, but Nina's a player who really does like her
Colossus, yeah.
And she loves a good walking giraffe, and as do we all, right? And Colossus can be surprisingly effective. If you get a bunch of Stalkers that aren't microed very well, they do tend to line up a little bit to try and get on top of your army. If you get you in a concave or even a convex, you can do a really nice work with those Colossus. But as you said, Disruptors, probably the more likely chance this time, the more likely unit to be built this time, and it will be Disruptors out of Nina, which I think is probably the right call overall.
Yeah, I think so too, especially against very Blink heavy compositions. Colossus, until you get 3 or 4, really do struggle to carve through them, as if it was much more Zealots or, you know, Adepts. If it had been a Glaive Adept opening, maybe I would agree more with going Colossus in this game. But Disruptors, especially once you get 2 or 3, you can start using one to bait Blinks and then the other ones to go where they blunk to. So I like this from Nina. She's doing very well in this game. Her upgrade is ahead. As long as she starts +2 on time, or very close to on time, she's going to be able to keep that going. +1 finishes. +2 should start soon. You can do it. I believe in
Hopefully
you.
start
There we go.
There.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right away.
5 seconds is completely fine.
Yeah, that's fine for Nina. Staying ahead on upgrades is going to be great. Obviously, the window's not going to be very wide open, but if you don't start right away, you leave yourself open, you leave yourself vulnerable to somebody else's +1 window being a little bit better. Nice, cute little blink up into the main here. This is going to be super annoying for Nina to deal with. Forced to warp in a Zealot, tries to get a Disruptor shot off. That won't get too much done. Luckily, shield batteries here to, I was going to say, help out, but the 4 Stalkers all focus firing, so 3 probes go down. But this is good. Keeps Nina back home, and a great scout as well.
Yeah, that's the most important thing here. That's what can't be let go. The Disruptors were scouted. Nina is going into Colossus after Disruptor. That is slightly unusual. You don't see this a lot.
Very Nina.
We saw... Yeah, it's very Nina for sure. We saw him canning earlier. Just make Disruptor. Blink Stalker, go into Dark Shrine and things like that. Disc is matching with a Robotics Bay of his own in terms of army supply. Nina is quite heavily ahead. Getting that Observer as well, pretty nice. Upgrades, as we said, Nina is ahead. There's not a lot in it. Chrono boosts look like Disc has been dumping those into the upgrade to catch up, because it is very, very close now. Nina adding on a few more gateways, getting loads of static defenses, which I think in North American PvP is very important, because run-bys never stop, like Zerg in EU. I think we have a Prism down at the 3 o'clock point as well here from Disc, which, if that can find some damage, could be potentially huge. A very, very, once again, we're sort of in the few moments of calm before things absolutely explode again.
Absolutely, and that's a great place to be for both of these players. They're both sort of executing the game they want to execute. Nina, of course, getting some Colossus in with their fourth base, going to be caught by surprise. Disc gets a bit of a scout off. Remember, these buildings, when they're being built, have an absolutely garbage vision radius, so Nina did not see that drop coming, and I don't know that she'll be able to save this necessarily. No. Yeah, she barely will. Luckily, it's just +1 Zealots, not +2 or +3, so he barely gets saved, but wow, that's a lot of damage here off for Nina's fourth Nexus, whereas Disc's fourth Nexus completely unopposed yet.
Yeah, Disc has done a very good job as well of getting a lot of workers out onto the field. He's now adding disruptors of his own. What I am scared of is, he's also getting the speed there. I can never tell if that's Warp Prism or Observer. I think that's Observer. They look like almost identical to me.
Yeah, Gravitic boosters, not Gravitic drive.
Yeah, I mean... so Disc now going to push out and maybe try and find a little bit more damage. He still has that Prism over at the east as well. Looking to see what he can find here. And Nina, how many Colossus did she make? Just two? Just two, and going back into Disruptors. I don't hate it. Adds that constant DPS, I think, against things like the Zealots. And they're very, very vulnerable. They're very squishy glass cannon units, and they could just be blunked on.
Yeah, very dangerous position for both these players here. Nina with a slight advantage on the high ground and in the acceleration zone generator as well, which means she's going to be able to get on top of some of these units. And no, Disc mispathing one, make it two of his disruptors, and that is a bad loss here. Two disruptors down for the cost of nothing. But Nina going to get a disruptor caught as well. Gosh, these players are just like gazelles. Pardon me, they're like lions catching the weakened gazelles at the back of the herd.
Yeah, they're dashing around very nice here. Both players doing the best they can. The Colossus offering a little bit of constant damage, forcing a Guardian Shield there. Super Battery comes in, but the long range of the Colossus is nice. It does offer a similar sort of role to the Disruptor, just slightly less explosive. Nina's micro there on point, though. She's making better decisions in these fights. Blinking forward there and taking out the Disruptors means there's no AoE left in this army for Disc, and the base will fall down.
Yeah, this is a great push from Nina up the ramp, granted, but of course, as you said, with those ETL Colossus, those extended thermal lance Colossus, having enough range to push Disc back, that's a great win for Nina, who's now on 4 bases, this 4th base finishing up to the 3 bases of her opponent. So even though Disc has 71 workers, the income has now dropped precariously into Nina's favor. It'll even out a little bit, but Nina with a more sustainable income overall.
Yeah, Nina is going to be able to take a 5th base quicker as well, I imagine, because she did manage to take out that forward base here of Disc. That should now put her into a better position expanding wise. The +3 is way ahead for Nina too. Oh, good hit as well on all of those Zealots. +3 is a big upgrade to get. Wow, that's so brave from Nina to bring forward into Disruptor fire like that, to take down the Disruptor. Killing it before the shot goes off means the shot is cancelled, and Nina right now is really taking control of this game, and now she has a Colossus for high ground vision crate, and she can just blink up in.
Yeah, absolutely. The high ground Colossus and gets the Cyber Core. That's great, Grant. Not only will be no more Stalkers. Good dodges there from Disc. Also means no more shield batteries for a while for Disc.
This army is kind of trapped.
The 4th base, this is dangerous. Nina is a little bit trapped, but of course she can always retreat up into the main base of Disc right now, where she's clearing out gateway after gateway, or even recall back home if she feels particularly exposed. I think she's going to be just fine, though, to retreat here, and Disc takes a slightly better trade there. But, man, Nina's still in really good shape with both Colossi still alive, Grant.
Yeah, taking out the Cyber Nexus Core as well means no more Stalkers. If she can pick off a big bunch of these Stalkers, she's going to be able to take control, force the Zealots out, which are not good against the Colossus. So, nice fights, nice decision-making here by Nina. She's now going to keep sending out those Purification Novas, the 1DT, just causing absolute hell here, because there's no Observers. There's not even one being produced, Creighton. This 1DT is just having a field day.
One Observer just finished, as you said it there, Grant. You're absolutely correct. DT doing great. And the Disruptor Balls, gonna get blunked on there by Disc, who does pull a Nina on Nina. And where are those Colossus, Grant? It looks like both have been taken out in the interim. These Stalkers from Disc gonna get really good trades here. Nina gonna be forced to walk away here. But Disc has a huge army supply advantage now, and this is a terrible fight for Nina. Loses another Disruptor on the back as well.
It's wild as well, because Nina did have +3 during that fight, and Disc did not. Disc's +3 is only 2/3, 3/4 of the way done, so a very good fight there from Disc. He managed to catch Nina, as you said, sort of off guard there and take down her power units very quickly. The DT has did a lot of work there for Nina, and probably, to be honest, kept her in contention here. But Disc certainly making the steps he needs to make here to take this one home if he were to take the series 2-0. Still a lot left in this game. Now we do see 4 bases here for Disc. Only the 5th is down for Nina and producing, not too far into its lifespan just yet though, and it looks like even could be cancelled as there is a Prism here. Oh no, that's Wait, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, these zealot profiles here, very, very dangerous. Now these are +2 zealots, so they're going to destroy the base twice as quickly. DT's here to try and save it. This is going to be very close. I think Nina, she's going to lose. Thought she can save it, but a good kill there. But at the same time, Nina moving up to the top left-hand side. She's going to get a nice... oh, she's not. She's going to retreat here. What on earth? Disc trading some disco balls, though, and does snipe one more disruptor. Nina decides to leave the base B for now and try and go for the army on the top side. But Disc moving across the map now. Grant, we're seeing a little bit of a base trade here.
Yeah, well, Nina did actually manage to leave a couple of units on the workers. She killed 22 of Disc's probe there. Just leaving 3 or 4 zealots was an incredible move, but Disc does have a very strong army that should be able to return fire and do a decent job. These DTs are very, very annoying here for Disc to deal with of Nina. This is going to be so much damage across the board here. It's very, very interesting to see who will come out on better of this. I do believe Nina is making the better trades, but Disc has so much army, Creighton.
He has an awful lot. He just needs some observers back home. He's so busy rebuilding disruptors that have died. He hasn't had a chance to get the observers out. The observers on the map, there's just one observer on the map rather than these disruptors desperately trying to save themselves. It looks like they will get it. Beautiful shot there from Disc. Not sure it's going to be enough, though, as Disc moves into the top corner. This is a tough location to defend.
The DTs are just ravaging. There's no observers left here for Disc, and that means he's going to be forced into a full retreat as the DT's doing so much damage. DT Blink is it done? No, DT Blink not done for either, although Nina has started it. Nina's certainly coming out at the tail end of that ahead. Oh, God, these DTs are just so frustrating all game long. And imagine if they had Blink as well, they'd be even worse. And now Nina up in army supply, up in workers, up in upgrades, up in every... well, even getting that prism. Up in every metric that counts. And it looks like Nina going for that final death push if she can make it happen.
Going to be a very tricky one indeed, but of course the disruptor count for Nina slightly higher here, 7 to just 3 out of Disc. As we said, Disc prioritizing those disruptors over something like observers that he could have used earlier, trying to get back in the game. Oh, Nina does lose 1 disruptor there, missed path on the south side. That's going to take her back down to 6, I believe. But if she can get 1 or 2 big disruptor shots off, Grant, this will be over very, very quickly. Disc still has a very scary army, but he's only on 2 bases, whereas he's on 4.
4, yeah. Yeah, and 4 good bases. Oh, sorry, at least 2 very good bases. Disc really is barely mining. That base is yeah, of course, now still very healthy, and the one coming up will be very healthy. Disc is really going to be mining from 1 base at this point, and I imagine he's only got 8 workers left on his third. Can we take a look at that? Disc.
Oh, Disc, I'm sorry. Yep.
19 out of 8, yeah. So very inefficient mining. Disc has no income. He has to win with the army he has, and that is going to be extraordinarily difficult. There's only 1 observer here as well, Creighton. If that 1 observer goes down, it's not irreplaceable, but it's certainly not irreplaceable, if you know what I mean. Very scary.
A lot of victory conditions here for Nina, including sniping that observer, which she has just done. So that's a big start for her. She's going to lose the natural nexus due to Disc's overwhelming army, but Disc has dodged these disruptor shots well enough that he's going to stay alive for a bit longer. Second observer, no. The second observer goes down for Nina. Disc's observer still around, though, and the DTs actually get cleaned up here. Nina's lost 13 SCVs. Grant, this is a much tighter race than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the worker count's still favoring Nina, and Nina, as we said, still has those 2 very healthy bases in the southeast of the map. More and more units being picked off here. This is a very scrappy game, certainly. Nina is certainly still in the driver's seat of this game. She still has more to offer. So her income considerably ahead, to the fact where I would say Disc really doesn't have an income at this point. Neither player producing much. Nina's trying to produce more probes, which I like because she does have those bases and she can afford to do so. She has a lot more money in the bank mineral-wise. Now a big 9 warp, but this is a big mogul move here from Disc.
I love it. Getting up into the main base. Nina's army a little bit out of position. This is all free damage. Those zealots buying some time, but of course sacrificing themselves for the good of fire right now. Is setting up for a bit of a flank or something. Wow. She's just going to evacuate this base, send some stalkers across. I'm actually not sure what she's doing with those stalkers. They're going to get caught here. This is a really bad move from Nina. Disc sees it and should immediately jump on top.
Yeah, if Discani's certainly looking to do so. We do have a counter-attack here from Disc as well. This is going to find a lot of damage. Forces a recall, in fact, here. And that's exactly what was needed to be done. Oh my god, this disruptor.
Those probes came within an inch of meeting their god. So that was unbelievable. Nice snipe by Nina there, saving a good solid 15 probes, which would have swung the tide of this game considerably.
Yeah, Nina needed those probes. That's certainly true. Army supply, Nina is now ahead. Disc was ahead for a considerable amount of time. Oh, and these disruptors are offering so much. The army of Disc is just these stalkers. He has nothing else. And again, he's never remade a base. He is not mining at this point, I don't imagine. He is, but like... we can't really count it. because it's so inefficient, and those patches will be running out more and more. Now Nina is losing a few more workers just to a small group of units here, but as we've said, those southeast bases are so big because they're healthy. They're fully mining. That's a fully saturated -2 workers base. That's a fully saturated minus a few workers on the minerals base. It's so healthy. Her economy means that she can take inefficient trades all day bloody long and still come out on top.
Production tab telling a whole story here, Grant. Disc desperately struggling to crank out one observer, so the DTs are no longer an insta-gib. Nina building more probes, building disruptors, building pylons, getting her infrastructure back in place in a solid place to win this game. It looks like we are going to see an awkward base trade here, and I don't know that this necessarily favors Disc. I think Nina has a chance to win this big.
Yeah, definitely. Nina's army is considerably stronger at this point. You see all of these zealots, they tear through worker lines much quicker than stalkers do. Stalkers, they like to target down one thing at a time, even in big groups here. It's hard to individually target them, whereas zealots will charge, split up a little bit better. The AI on targeting workers that a little bit smarter. And strange base race here. Definitely. I don't know how this goes. Disc is doing a good job. He's killing a lot of stuff, meaning Nina can't spend the money that she is making. That is a nice thing to have if he can somehow take a perfect fight against better upgraded, better compositional army. But I don't know. I mean, he has the high ground.
He does have the high ground. We all learned that fateful day on Mustafar. Sometimes that's all that matters, Grant. But right now, as you said, Nina losing absolutely everything. Robo Bay going down. As well as everything else in the main base. At this point, it looks like Disc is actually going for structures, realizing this may turn into a very awkward TKO, in which the game actually ends by the normal rules by which the StarCraft game ends, which is the one player loses all of their buildings.
Yeah. Observer going down here as well. There are some zealots on the high ground here for Disc, but nowhere near enough. A DT, though, that would do a lot of work here. There's no observer, so, I mean, it needs a lot of time. But it could start working away on these zealots. Nina, of course, is probably aware of the fact she has no observer, and will either sort that out. A recall coming in here actually from Disc. He knows he has to beat this army. If he can take a really strong fight, not lose many stalkers, if any stalkers here, that's a lot of army supply. Nina cannot reproduce. Look, she's making 4 more gates now because she doesn't have any active gateways, I believe, and army supply now even. Disc with a 2 supply lead, but he doesn't have an income. He has to go.
This has to go. Absolutely great. You couldn't have said it better myself. Nina, looks like, does she repower any of her gateways yet? One, two,
she just has those.
3, 4, 5, 6 gateways about to finish. It's going to be very difficult. Very difficult.
Her army's out of position though.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, Nina's army is out of position, and she's going to lose a few of these gateways very early. And they're important to getting these units out. Of course, Nina has some money, not a huge amount. This acceleration zone generator is going to be so big for the micro. The bring forward here by Nina. Disc is going to stand the fight. He has worse upgrades, and the disruptors mean he has to micro, whereas Nina does not. There's the hit that Nina needed, and just like that, Nina will blink forward. She'll be looking to take over this game, take the win, take us to a map 3 created, and God, it's going to be a long night here in England, because Nina is going to even this one up.
Oh, goodness gracious, Grant. I was really hoping we'd get you to bed at a reasonable hour today, but it looks like our players are just fighting too much and means grabs game number 2. We are absolutely seeing a number 3 here. Is that all 3 of our series now that have gone to a game 3 in NA, Grant?
Yes, it is, Creighton. Yes, it is. And they've not been short.
They have not been short. That's right. We've been treated to some very long games. The players doing a good job of showcasing their skills for the most part here in our 3 series of the day. Now, Grant, I don't know what our 3rd map is going to be yet. I wouldn't expect it to be, well, it's PvP. It could be anything. I was going to say probably not Blackburn or Beckett Industries, but we actually saw Blackburn in the PvP a while ago.
Yeah, I don't think either of these players will look for that. I wouldn't be surprised to see something a little bit more standard here. Maybe something along the lines of Light Shade. What have we had so far? What was map 1?
We've got 2K Atmos, so our question has been answered.
There we go.
2,000 Atmospheres is going to be our 3rd and final map between Disc and Nina. Again, guys, remember, these players tied up 1-1 right now in the overall standings. They've each won 1 match and lost 1 match. So the winner of this moves up to a 2-1. Loser of this moves down to a 1-2, which is a tough place to fight out for. Group A, very tight right now.
Yeah, very tight. The tightest group across both regions, I think, most likely. It's certainly leaning that way. Now, we will move into map 3 very shortly, just waiting for our players to be ready. As we said, 2K Atmos is going to be our 3rd and deciding map here. $100 on the line for the victory, as well as, of course, the opportunity to maraud your way up your group and move into that bracket stage to make the real big buckaroos later on. Countdown is going, the countdown to our countdown, and there we go.
Yeah, and we're ready to rock and roll, Grant. 2K Atmos for Game 3. Grant, give me your gut prediction. Who you feeling here in Game 3?
Disc. And I hate to say it. I hate to say it because I'm a big fan and I class Nina as a personal friend, and I don't know Disc on a personal level, but I think even despite the fact he was behind a lot in that game, he made better moves. And in the end, he was just kind of choked out because he didn't have any mining bases. But if he was mining, if that third base was the one that died and the fourth base was the one that survived, I think he was trading so much more efficiently that he would have won that game should he have had 16 probes mining instead of just 8.
Absolutely. Great analysis. Well, let's hop into our third and final game of this series, our penultimate series of the day. One more after this, and guys, it's going to be a good one. Coming up next is going to be Trigger, the young Canadian Protoss player, versus Scarlet. So as soon as this game is finished up, we'll hop right into that one. Yeah. Let's introduce our two players, though, spawning in the top right. Ooh, pardon me. In the top right-hand side, in the blue, representing Team Psystorm Gaming, it is Nina.
And Nina's opponent in the bottom left of 2K Atmos, he is Root Gaming's one of our last remaining players in the red, the Canadian. It is Disc. I think, Creighton Olsen, and Cats, if you're watching, please send me a hoodie, that Root is my favourite StarCraft 2 team of all time.
Are we just mentioning stuff we like with the hopes that they'll send us free stuff? In that case,
McDonald's.
I'm a big fan of Ferrero Rocher and Lamborghini products.
No, I mean, there's something. Root was always that, like, Liquid and Evil Geniuses were these monster corporations. They were incredible teams, and I love them. And what they've done for StarCraft will never ever be forgotten. But Root was that homegrown, locally owned, gamer born and bred team owned by Cats who would compete under their name, picking up all of the best NA players over the time and then supporting Koreans over the years as well, off of like a shoestring budget, I imagine. They had that game in-house that you'd see all the videos from, and I just always love Root, and the logo's great. Cats, send me a hoodie, please. Or like
we
a
don't
t-shirt, anything.
At all here on the V Street. You're not wrong, though, Grant. Root, of course, a great old storied organization that Disc is on, and no surprises that Psystorm Gaming, the Nina's new team, also a very exciting, storied old team.
Yeah, send me stuff too. Any team, really. Just send me stuff. I haven't got too many t-shirts.
Grant's cashing in his fame for that t-shirt money. That's right, kids.
It used to be mouse mats, but we've upped our game. Very quick Stargate here from Nina. I do see Nina as the player who opened Stargate a lot in PvP, so I was surprised to see her not do it too much here. She's also, historically in these DreamHack events, been absolutely kick-ass proxying the Stargate. We haven't seen any of that here, maybe saving that for the latter stages, or maybe she's just not been practicing that style. Quick Robo here, very unusual from Disc, will allow him to get a good amount of vision and possibly be aggressive with a Prism, but Stargate can be very punishing, especially if we do have a quick Oracle coming out. I'm surprised to see nothing coming out of it just yet, though. Nina, you finished it. You can use it.
She's saving up the gas, I think, for
she's saving up for a Void Ray.
Yeah, that's my guess. 150 gas should hit, and we'll...
That's the Oracle.
Sorry, 150 gas hit for Oracle. Okay. Either way. So, Nina, going to get that Oracle on the way, which is great because, of course, the Stargate has not been spotted by Disc. I don't know if you caught it earlier, Red. Disc got the probe in, and a probe actually got killed by another probe from Nina, who had her probe on like a hold position sort of attack pattern thing. It was beautiful. So not spotted at all, and it looks like Nina going to save both these Adepts and go back in with an unscouted Stargate. Disc, better get that shield battery down fast than he is.
Yeah, I think going in and not seeing anything, you prepare for the worst, and the worst here is Stargate. Of course, it could also be TT, but he knows he's safe because he opened with the Robo. So the Oracle now going to make its way downtown, go the long way. Nina is the first to bite on an expansion. How many gateways is Disc on? He's going 3-gate Robo. This is just a big one-base push with a 3-gate Robo. Does Disc have a sentry? No, but I imagine he's going to warp one in pretty soon. He's got so much right now. What does Nina have to defend? She has 2 Stalkers, 2 Adepts against 9 Stalkers, plus another 3 that will be coming in very shortly. I think Nina's in trouble.
It's a great read from Disc here. Of course, as we said, protected back home by the shield battery from the Oracle.
Needs a Void
come
Ray.
in and find basically Bupkis. She needs a Void Ray right away, and she's not producing one. Looks like she's going to let these Stalkers bide their time, attack the natural for as long as they can. She'll cancel it at the last minute, and then force them up into the high ground. But right now, Nina needs to be adding on another shield battery. Needs to be adding on something, anything, Grant, to desperately power up her army. This is going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, there's no force field even, and Disc is going to pop up here and see that there is no force field, and he's probably going to feel content to, okay, just take the gateway for now, that's a good start, but he has enough, he could go.
It's going to be really tight, actually. 6 to 10 is tough, especially with Defender's advantage in Nina's favor. She does have that shield battery, so she can top it back off. I'd like to continue to warp and throw from Disc, realizing that he's at a bit of an advantage here.
Yeah.
And with only one gateway remaining, Nina's in a lot of trouble, Grant.
Yeah, Nina needs a Robo to finish and one Immortal to come in. This is also what Nina needs. There is only one Stalker here. She needs to target well. She's not targeting Creighton. She's not doing this right. Okay, now we go. Now the focus is coming in. But meanwhile, at home, the Prism's reinforcements doing just a little bit too much here. And Disc is very, very ahead in army supply probes coming off the line. But these Stalkers have makeshift blink using the Prism.
No gateways either, Grant. No power gateways for Nina to get the one, but it's sitting here vacant, empty, dead. A couple probes go down for Disc, but Nina in all kinds of trouble, Grant. As you said, no sentry to wall off that ramp.
The Immortal's close, but it's too late.
The Immortal is close, but it might even get depowered. The Void Ray's here. Probe pulled off the line to buy some time, and Disc is just playing the scores. What a read. What a read.
Yeah, this is going to be too many dead probes, I think, when all is said and done. Even the Oracles have been forced to come home here. They didn't find too much damage. Nina has lost 12 probes. The Oracle just went down as well. That's a little bit more DPS. Behind this, Disc has 22 workers. He's building pretty efficiently. The Immortal is out. Is there an overcharge? There's not enough energy.
Nope, not enough energy on the Nexus, and that's bad news bears for Nina. Void Ray goes down. Immortal going to get socked down as well? No. Looks like Disc wants to go for one more warp in before diving on top of that Immortal. Shield batteries all out of energy. Grant, getting bad to worse.
No more shield batteries. The last shield battery was thrown down just as it died, and I mean, at this point, workers come off the line. The final hurrah here for Nina, but it is not going to work out. Grant's prediction is